hard, play hard, work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard.
Work, 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 work.
Darrin Cummings, owner of Aura Nightclub, formerly Mystique Lounge. Well, I think I always had the entrepreneurship in me from the time I was a kid, but just working in corporate America after I left college, I realized that working for other people, you couldn't control your own destiny. They kind of controlled you. I was in corporate America for 15 years, and 2 different major companies, and each company, when they decided they wanted their stocks or they wanted to make more profit, you could work your butt off for years and years, but when they decided they want to make more profit, they need to get rid of people, they can cut you, and that happened twice to me. So I just decided that, I'm not going to let anybody else control my destiny. I want to control my own. What I enjoy most about what I do is just the everyday challenges, just to watch something that you put together just come together. You start something from scratch, or you come up with an idea, and you work hard to see it come to fruition. And on top of that, what I do, I just like to watch other people to a certain extent either have a good time, or employees see the success from employees. We have employees and they love what they do, or they gain success from what they're doing. I like to see that as well too. So it's not really about my own success, but I kind of like to watch everybody else have some success as well. Advice I give someone that wants to become an entrepreneur, just first and foremost, it's about hard work and preparation. People always want to say, hey, don't let other people doubt you or tell you can't do it. But before all of that happens, it's all about preparing, having an idea, putting in the work that a lot of people don't see. If it's something that you want to do, sometimes you just can't jump into it. You have to read about it, you have to research it. And then after all that's done, and you feel that you're prepared in your heart, then just go after it. Don't be scared. I hear a lot of successful people always say, success is about taking chances. If you kind of just go straight through life, not scared to take a chance, chances are you're going to stay on an even playing field. But if you want to be successful and you want to be an entrepreneur, do the research, do the hard work, the footwork, but then take chances. And that's what I would tell people that wants to become entrepreneurs. Greatest sources of support for me was, I guess, my friends, but mainly family. I was lucky to have a father that, he's always kind of been in business, and he was the person that if I had an idea, if I had something that I wanted to do, I would go to him, and he would always level with me, tell me the truth about it. But also, I think it's just being here in the community of West Palm Beach. Basically, it's the community as well. Just coming from a promotional background and working with the community, and always trying to treat people right. The people in the community tended to kind of want to see me succeed. So that was some of my biggest sources, or the biggest support group that I had was family and the community. Personality has helped me be successful is always being even keeled. Always treating, when it's good, you still keep even keeled. You can't tell whether it's good or whether it's bad. Things are good or bad. Just that I'm never too high, I'm never too low, because I understand that it's a journey. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. So you're gonna have your good days and you're gonna have your bad days. And a lot of times people can't even tell if I'm having a good or bad day, because I tend to kind of be even keeled most of the time. So that's just me. I'm not a rah-rah and yell at you type guy. And I'm also, I'm not a person that's, always gonna be passive. I mean, I'm gonna come in and you know what you're gonna get when it comes to dealing with me. But what I know now that I wish someone would have told me before I got started, that it's not gonna be easy. You always think that you have a dream, you have a passion for something, you think that you're gonna walk into it and it's just gonna happen. And just the unexpected. No one ever told you. It's always gonna be a lot of unexpected things that you have to deal with from day to day. And I don't think you can't get trained. No one can train you for that. But I wish people would have told me. Just sometimes, you're gonna have days. It's gonna be tough. Just on the business side though, that I wish I would have known. Like you have to be extremely organized. It took a while for me to understand. When I say extremely organized, that you have to know your books. I wish someone would explain a little bit more that your accountant in this business, your accountant or your money books is extremely important. You live and die by that. That's your Bible when it comes to business. You need to understand that your profit margins need to be at a certain point. Just understand every single aspect of your business when it comes to what's coming in and what's going out. And no one taught me that, and I paid a huge price for that at first, because that was something I had to learn as I went along. 3 characteristics of a successful entrepreneur for me is someone that's consistent. And when I say consistent, that they don't let people outwork them to a certain extent. They're up every morning at 7 o'clock. Consistency is one of the main things for a successful entrepreneur. Organization as well. Being organized. Just whether if you're a person with a great memory, fine, you can keep things, but say that if you're a person that doesn't have a good memory and you need to write things down, or you always have to store things, let's say in your iPad or something, but just being organized. And then the third thing I would say is for a great entrepreneur is somebody that's willing to take risks, that's not conservative, not scared to fail to a certain extent. You can't be scared to fail. I'm sure there's been plenty of businesses out there that's failed before they succeeded. So and I don't know if that's 3, maybe that's 3 things, but also being reliable. If you have meetings or you have other things that people when they look at you, they know that you can be reliable, that you're going to be there, that you're going to answer your phone, you're going to return phone calls. I find that to be extremely important. Those are some of the things that I find important to be an entrepreneur. One of the biggest risks I've taken is opening up a nightclub downtown. That's been a huge risk, because a lot of people said, don't do it, or just it's not something that's done all the time. So this has been a huge risk, but it's been a gratifying risk to me. I'm glad I did it, not only just from the business side, but it's something that I didn't rush into. I really did have to think about it, but just one of the biggest risks I did was opening up a nightclub. The hardest lesson I learned since I've been in business is that you have to separate sometimes friendship from business. We all want to take our boys with us, or you all want to take your family members with you, but at times that's when you get in those situations, that's been the hardest thing to separate from if you in business with friends or family. So you always want to look out for your people, but at times your people are not the right person for a particular job, or your family members are not the right person to have around certain things. So to me, you have to take some of that emotional feelings out of things that you're doing in business and try to make the right decisions. So that's been probably the toughest thing that I've been dealing with when it comes to business as family and friends. I feel entrepreneur skills will benefit youth these days by whether you go into becoming an entrepreneur or you continue to stay, you're working for somebody, but just having that independence and having that confidence of being an entrepreneur. I just think it's important. We all would like to be our own boss, and of course, not everyone can be an entrepreneur, but just having that skills, or even having that independent skill. It allows you, even if you're going to a corporate job, you have an independent skill, you have a job to do, you understand that, that's your little business, whether you're in the corporate world or you're doing it yourself. But just having that skill to run your part of your department or do your job, I find that to be extremely important. I wish, you know, more kids would start off, you know, thinking from a younger age that, hey, they want to be an entrepreneur, because I wish I did. I knew that, you know, from a young age, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I trained myself to do that. So, you know, I find that that is important, entrepreneur skills. Darrin Cummings, as owner of Aura Nightclub, support what creative entrepreneur is doing. I think it's a great thing, and I think I think what creative entrepreneur is doing for young people is awesome, because you're giving them the skills, or you're talking to them about things that a lot of us didn't have people to talk to us about. So I support wholeheartedly what creative entrepreneur is doing.